There are places in Meghalaya which are still unknown to the outside world, where the villages are not easily accessible because the terrain and the roads are almost non-existent. We are on a journey to one of the remotest habitations in the Jaintia Hills, which only a 4x4 wheel drive can access the village. It lies only 16 kilometers southeast of the Shnongrim Ridge, but it takes 2 hours to get there. We passed by Lad Mirsyang Junction and started the slow ascent to Shnongrim Ridge, and after some time we took a ride towards Lelat village. It was already 4 p.m. and the road now was a dry, dusty track that only vehicles with special gears could navigate. Along the way, we stopped by Mupat village and asked for directions. It was already getting dark, but we were on the right track. We were on a journey to meet a caving expedition to find out and document some of their activities. The area, a treasure trove of limestone caves, was a great attraction to the adventurous visitors. Even though it was remote and the road to the village could be accessed only during the dry winter season, that did not deter the many who land up at Muallian village once a year on a journey of exploration. We reached the village after more than 5 hours on the road, the last stretch of 2 hours shaking our bones and joints incessantly. We were most happy to arrive in the dark of night and to be there just in time for some dinner. We've just reached Muallian village. We are here for a caving expedition called Caving in the Abode of the Clouds. This village, incidentally, has a large number of caves. It's going to be very exciting. Tonight we're going to rest, and tomorrow morning we're going to show you some of the most beautiful landscape here in Muallian village. A number of tents pitched on the football field were apparently the campsite of the cavers. There was a bonfire with some people sitting around it. This is your first time here? No. Yes. We set up our tents in no time and dumped the mattresses and sleeping bags inside before moving out to meet up with the team leaders of the caving expedition.
Well, basically what we're doing is we are discovering the caves and then we document them. That means map and describe the cave in total. Besides that, we also have a biologist and other research scientists who would document other forms of life. And in the process, we have documented forms of life that are not found elsewhere in the world.
So is there any kind of, things like when you enter the cave, would you be disturbing the ecosystem inside the cave, or would there be any threat to the cave?
Well, basically a cave is best left as it is. But to know about that cave, somebody has to enter, somebody has to explore it. So we do that, but we try to do as little damage as possible.
Are these caves being threatened by mining or any other activities here in Muallian?
Yes, if you talk about the Shnongrim Ridge, which actually is an area which has very, very high density of caves, that area is threatened. But on this part, it's still yet pristine.
Simon, if I may ask you a question, why choose Meghalaya when there are so many caves all over the world?
Well, Meghalaya it had always been of interest to the caving fraternity, but before 95, nobody could get a restricted area permit to visit. So I was successful in negotiating and getting permission in 1992 to come here.
Do you feel that the ecosystem is being threatened here?
It's always going to be a bit of a challenge when you've got the extractive industries, you know, the cement, formerly the coal, but that's less busy now. And there's always a difficult relationship between preserving the countryside and also extracting coal and limestone. And I think things will sort themselves out, but there's still much to be learnt.
What was your background in caving and how did you find this place?
I first started caving at university. I joined the caving club and we did a lot of caving in South Wales. Then I moved up to Scotland and I was doing a lot of caving in Yorkshire. So been caving for about 30 years. And so I've heard about the Meghalaya caving expedition for quite a few years.
Is it any different from the caving that you've done in Scotland or in...
The caves are much, much bigger. In Scotland, the caves are very, very small. In Yorkshire, they're very, very vertical. In South Wales, they're very, very horizontal. And here you've got very vertical sections and you've got very long, very horizontal sections and you've got massive passage, which you just don't see, and you're just like wandering along going, wow. Fascinating. The animals here in the caves are absolutely amazing. You get little catfish. You get blind whitefish. We've got some which are like little ones here, and you get one of them which are really, really big. You get crabs and you get crayfish, and you just don't see those in Britain. Those are absolutely amazing to see.
Thomas here will tell us about his experiences with caves here in Meghalaya and caves in other parts of the world. What is the difference? What's the basic difference?
I would say the basic difference is that in Meghalaya we have a very dense density of caves which is extraordinary in the world. We have small surface area with lots of cave in east. Like this ridge here has a length of about 25 kilometers from tip to tip, and it's over 160 caves inside. So the density is something very special. I don't think you find an area with more caves inside, so that's one thing.
What does it take to be a caver?
Well, let's put it that way. You have to have passion. That's all. You find out when you go into a cave first time. You find out if you like it or not. Usually it's like that. Just you go and try, and then either you like it or you hate it. It's just.
So it has fascinated you?
Yeah, since I was 14 years old.
14 years old?
Yeah. That's a laser. So with this you actually take 3 readings. You take the distance and you take the angle and the compass in one go. The distance 1 meter 12. 304 degrees means direction, and this is inclination. Okay, and then this data goes via Bluetooth onto this device. This is a PDA, palm-held computer if you want. Okay. And you can draw simultaneously. Look, you can draw the cave while you walk along. Right. So that's our data gathering concept, if you want.
These are the main 2 devices that you use?
Yeah, we work with these. It's paperless cave survey, we call it. So this is something you would publish, and all the cave surveys of Meghalaya went via my desk. Almost, not all, but 80%. 80%. I did 80% of them. So in the publication, in the books, and wherever it is that stuff is there. So that's my speciality. Huh?
After that long, hard journey, we all slept reasonably well. Early morning was cool and crisp with the orange-tinted sky on the horizon behind the mountains, creating a lasting impression on my mind. We flew our drone to get a sense of the layout of the village. Muallian is the second biggest village of the Bhyate tribe after Saipung in Meghalaya. As per the monuments we came across, it is a 50-year-old village being established in 1967-68. The only source of livelihood is cultivation of broom grass, betel nut and other crops. There are two schools in Muallian. One is a lower primary while the other is an upper primary school. Most of the children are school, and for further schooling the young study in Clariat, Joai and Shillong. The people are friendly and greet us as we walk the dusty paths that crisscross the village. Water is scarce and the water sources have almost dried up. It's a tough life making a living in this remote area, but the residents manage to cope with the little that they have.
We've just taken a walk in Muallian village and we've come to this water source here, and this village incidentally is a village which has very less water. So in this remote village, the only source of water often comes from spring water, and this is the month where it's really dry and people have to really struggle to get their drinking cup of water or water for washing vessels and water for cooking. People have to live by this scarcity of water here.
The village is all Christian. A new church is being constructed over the old one. It's a tremendous effort considering the meager resources that the community is endowed with. It's apparently the most important social institution, as community life is intrinsically connected and cannot be separated from the church in Muallian. After some time, we were grouped together with a team of cavers that were assigned to take us to the Tui Khurlud cave, some 2 hours of walking distance from the campsite. There are another 3 caves documented within Muallian. They are Ladau Cave, Red Dungkhur and Krem Wa Dingim. The village is also the base camp for exploring some more cave networks which have been identified but still need to be further documented. Tui Khurlud was a cave with a large population of fruit bats, and during the summer months is filled with water that flows into the cave from a stream. At this time of the year, it is dry and more easily accessible than the other caves on the periphery of Muallian village. Very soon, we were in the midst of a limestone area with bizarre shaped stone columns like structures which looked out of this world.
We have come some quarter of a journey here, and what you see here is this beautiful rock formation. The action of water, action of rain has created this avenue of limestone, and this looks like sculpture. This is really beautiful.
The columns of limestone standing all along a trail were like pieces of artifacts that have been designed and sculpted in almost the same pattern. In some of the columns, there were layers of horizontal ridges running on the surface from the top to the bottom. In other rocks, the contours on the surface seem as though they were shaped by hand. These unusual formations stood amidst a bamboo forest with a trail passing between them. We walked past the structures where the tall bamboo stems leaned at an angle to form a sort of scaffolding, similar to a gateway over our path. It was a surreal landscape inside a rainforest, and we were privileged to have set foot here. The forest was also inhabited by giant massive trees with huge trunks that made any human standing next to them look like dwarfs. According to the cavers, there could be still more cave networks in the area which have not been discovered. So far, the total number of caves that have been documented in Meghalaya is 1700, and according to the team leaders, they are quite sure that the numbers documented may reach 2000 caves in a few years from now. The area around Muallian is a treasure trove of caves and a gold mine for scientific research in areas like paleoclimatology and speleology and other sciences. The subterranean world is a fascinating one, and still a lot needs to be done in terms of research of the flora and fauna living there.
So we are almost there to the Tui Kurlut cave. And you can see all around me these leaves falling. Apparently it's because the trees don't, there's less water this time of the season, and the trees have to shed down their leaves so that they don't use too much of the water. So that is apparently the explanation.
The trail continued for some time up to a dried river bed, which was the next segment of a journey that led to Tuikurlut cave.
So this is a slight detour from our trail. This is the riverbed. So this is from where the river flows into the cave, and we will be walking directly to the cave from here. Yeah, so we are moving in a southerly direction, and what you see here is a dry riverbed, which explains the fact that this place does not receive as much rainfall as the Cherrapunji area or the southern slopes of the Khasi Hills. It takes some time before we reach the cave, and this is the area where the limestone meets the sandstone. So I'm putting on my jacket because we are just near the entrance of this cave, but we need to access the cave from this path out here. And I'm putting on my jacket because there's some poison ivy out there that might sting us, and I don't want to hazard a sting from the poison ivy.
We entered the cave expecting the fruit bats to fly out as in the previous visit of the cavers, but it seemed that the bats had flown out before our arrival. Our team put on their caving suits and prepared themselves for the journey onward inside. We followed them into the cavern in awe at the stalactites and stalagmites and the unique animal and plant life inside the cave.
So we are making our entrance into the cave and we're going to go some 5 minutes inside to discover for ourselves certain feature of this cave.
Inside the cave there was a pungent smell, apparently coming from the bat droppings. Our guide and caver Annie explained to us some of her findings related to the action of water on the cave walls. It was very interesting to learn about the various features of the cave concerning some dark patches on the walls which were caused by the moisture and heat from the bodies of the bats.
If you go like this with your hand, do this and do this.
Yeah.
Feel the difference.
Smooth. Yeah.
So the water goes that direction.
That shows indicates the direction that the water flows.
Yes.
You can actually see this is where rocks in the water have actually hit and glanced off the rock. So this is, I call it scarring. So that's saying that there's a lot of water comes in here with a lot of rocks and they're getting tumbled along as they go.
And what about this?
That's, if you actually notice there's little stones in the bottom, they're stone mills. So they actually go down and they form potholes. And so the stones, this water will go in and the stones will just go round and round and round and just grind it out.
Create an indentation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
But it will be, it takes years and years and
Yes, yes.
years.
It takes
You know,
years.
it's not one season.
Cookie, a team leader, showed us how to operate the laser distance meter that determines the distance, angle and overall dimension inside a particular passage or area of a cave. With modern technology, the survey and collection of data inside caves has been made a lot easier.
I'll take 3 times just to check. That angle is 335 degrees. This top one is the direction, but it also does the up and down. So you get 3 readings. And with those 3 readings, you can construct a map of the cave.
Yeah.
So to start with, these are all the figures
Yeah.
that are
You've done.
beamed in, and then you can use that to construct the lines of the passage. Yeah. And then you can go one step further. So you can start drawing detail, the passage detail and what kind of sediments, so you can draw a map or a survey of the whole cave. So this is the main reason we're here, in order to produce these surveys. So we've recorded the cave, so future cavers and that will be able to use the survey to find their way around. They're also published in a book, so the book on Meghalaya caves.
See you at Gap.
Yeah, enjoy your walk back up the hill.
So the branch of science to do with caves is called speleology, and this is such a fine example of a subterranean world where you have a lot of fauna and so many things. We are indeed fortunate to have so many of these caves here in the Khasi Jaintia Hills, and it was a fantastic journey inside. So we were back from the trek. It was a grueling 2-hour trek, and we're back at the campsite. Our day in Muallian village is over. We are going back with very fond memories.
Our next visit is to a megalithic site northwest of Muallian, located in Mupat village about 5 kilometers from the campsite. This site is one of the few remaining heritage places in this part of the Jaintia Hills. It is home to a collection of monoliths and flat stones with a path running across the hill.
Well, that was the raw wild country where we came from, Muallian. And we've reached Mupat. This journey has come to an end, but we'll take back home lovely memories of a village inhabited by Byate people and a cave which was so beautiful.